Hi everyone. Now, one question I get asked a lot is what happens to all the palaces, homes and castles when the monarchy is abolished? Not just the buildings, but the art, jewels and a whole lot more. Now, it's actually fairly straightforward. What's theirs they keep, what's ours we keep. There's one small complication. What if they've bought private property using government grants? But I'll come back to that in a moment. Now first, let's look at what property we're actually talking about. And in this video, I'm just looking at homes, castles and palaces. Now, what surprises me is just how many homes they have which are state-owned. We've all heard of Buckingham Palace, Windsor Castle and Kensington Palace. Most of us will be familiar with Holyrood House in Edinburgh and Highgrove, where Charles lives in Gloucestershire. Sandringham and Balmoral are privately owned but still cost the taxpayer a fortune to maintain round-the-clock security. But did you know there are at least 19 homes used by the royals? So there's Buckingham Palace, Windsor Castle, Clarence House, St James's Palace, Kensington Palace, Ivy Cottage, Wren House, Nottingham Cottage on the grounds of Kensington Palace, Frogmore Cottage, Frogmore House, the Royal Lodge, Sandringham House, Anmer Hall, also on the Sandringham estate, the Palace of Holyrood House, Balmoral Castle, Birk Hall, also on the Balmoral estate, Hillsborough Castle in Northern Ireland, Highgrove House, which belongs to the Duchy of Cornwall, one that I'm not going to pronounce properly, Lyn Wermod in Llandoffrey, Wales, Gatcombe Park and Bagshot Park. Now some of these are on the same estate, whether the grounds of Kensington Palace, Balmoral or Sandringham, or in Great Windsor Park near Windsor Castle. But they are all separate homes, either fully funded or heavily subsidised by the British taxpayer. And these aren't modest homes. Balmoral Estate consists of 78 square miles of land in the Cairngorms National Park, west of Aberdeen in Scotland. Now 78 square miles makes it larger than Liverpool, than Nottingham, Sheffield, larger than Bristol and Cardiff. Sandringham, not far north of King's Lynn in Norfolk, is smaller at 29 square miles, making it larger than towns such as Cheltenham, Exeter, Bedford and Worcester. Now before I go on, it's worth pointing out that all these properties need 24-hour security, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks of the year. So it's no wonder that the security bill is estimated at over £100 million a year. So who owns what? Well, Buckingham Palace, St James's Palace and Windsor Castle are all ours, and that's not disputed. Windsor Great Park and the homes in it, such as Frogmore Cottage, belong to the Crown Estate, which does also belong to the nation, which raises the question of how the Queen could give Frogmore Cottage to Harry and Meghan when it wasn't hers to give. Highgrove belongs to the Duchy of Cornwall, which belongs to the nation as well. Of other homes, such as Clarence House, are also public property. Sandringham and Balmoral were purchased by Queen Victoria and are the only two homes assumed to be private property. However, according to Norman Baker, these properties were bought only after the government agreed to increase the civil list. In other words, they were paid for by government grants. So, why are they private property? So that's a lot of state-funded or subsidised palatial homes for the Queen and her extended family. So how's this for fair? As the country is struggling to cope with poverty, unemployment and overstretched public services, and we are trying to cope with a ever increasing public debt, perhaps the royals can help out by giving up these homes. They can either be sold off or turned into profitable museums or visitor attractions. Now the Queen will need an official residence, of course, while head of state, and it's not unreasonable to allow her an official home in the country, just as the PM has Chequers. But for the rest of the royals, they can go and rent or buy their own homes just like everybody else. I mean, that seems fair to me, and I think it probably seems fair to you. And if we do then become a republic, of course, these properties will remain in public hands, and they will probably be handed over to either the Crown Estate or the organisation called Historic Royal Palaces, which currently manages places like the Tower of London. So that's it from me. Just a quick rundown of what they own and what we own, more to the point. Don't forget, we are currently running an appeal to try and raise £12,000 to fund our YouTube and podcast projects. So you can head over to republic.org.uk/millions, where you can make a donation. Thank you very much for your support, and that will help us reach millions of people around the country and around the world as we make the case for a democratic Britain. See you next time.